we're getting ready to head down to the Christmas parade that our town has every year. But first, I'm going to show you all how to make the best gingerbread cookies you've ever had.
You're good.
Alright. So we're going to be making an old-fashioned gingerbread cookie. This is not soft gingerbread. This is the one that will harden a little bit. And matter of fact, we're going to be doing cutouts that we can hang on a little tree for my little kids, which is kind of cool. That part's fun. I did that when my older kids were younger. And then we kind of fell away from it for a little while, and I decided it was something that we wanted to bring back. So all I've got in here is a half a cup of shortening and a half a cup of white sugar. And you want the shortening and the sugar and your eggs and everything else to be room temperature. But you just mix this until you cream them together and they're light and fluffy. Woo! I have a turbo button on my little mixer apparently. Actually, I really do. Look. It's turbo. If you try to mix a dough that's too heavy, the whole thing will short out and die on you, but it's got a turbo button. I don't know, why would you need that? I'm making whipped cream? I don't know. Okay, so all you have to do is take it to this stage right here. Just light and fluffy and everything is all mixed together. And then over here, I have half a cup of dark molasses, and this is the unsulfured kind. And I was thinking about that earlier. Oh, and I've also got an egg in there. I was thinking about this earlier. You know, I don't know the difference between sulfured and unsulfured molasses, except it must have something to do with the manufacturing process. That's all I know. I do know that I have tasted sulfured molasses, and I don't like it as well. So unsulfured is fine. It's available everywhere. Not something you're, and it's all over my counter. It's not something you're ever going to have a hard time finding. So give me half a second to get this blended up, and I'll show you the next step with the dry ingredients. Now it's time for our dry ingredients, and I've got 2½ cups of all-purpose flour. Let me start over. Now it's time for our dry ingredients, and I've got 2½ cups of all-purpose flour. And this is our seasonings, and you want a lot of rich, warm flavor when you're making gingerbread. This is a lot of old-fashioned flavors. This is a couple of teaspoons of ground ginger and a couple of teaspoons of cinnamon. I have about a half a teaspoon of nutmeg, about a quarter teaspoon of, oh, that other thing, that's allspice. Thank you very much, Ricky. A teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of baking powder. You want both of them in this one. And really, really simple. All you have to do is give it a good whisk. You could wait, I guess, and mix everything together once you put your dry ingredients into your wet ingredients. But you'll have better success making sure everything is fully incorporated if you do this first. Plus, you won't risk blowing out your cheap mixer when you're trying to make a video about making cookies. So that's it. Just make sure everything's all well together. And I like using glass bowls so you can see if you've got any spots where you missed, which I did not. Then everybody just in here. We are going to, not going to subject you to my mixer again, but we're going to just simply mix this together. And we're going to have a nice soft dough. I'll show you, I'll come back and show you what that looks like once I've just, mixed it all together.
Alright, I'm filming.
Okay. So I just let everything come together. And we're going to turn this out onto some plastic wrap. We're going to cover it up and put it in the fridge. Really important step if you were going to be making any kind of cookie where you're going to shape it. So if you're going to roll it into a log and then cut it into little pieces, or if you're going to be trying to use cookie cutters, you really want to take the chance or take the opportunity to get it nice and cold first. There's a couple reasons for that. First, you need to give the flour time to hydrate all the way. It'll give your cookie a better texture. But secondly, if your dough gets too warm and then it hits the oven, it won't hold the shape of whatever shape you cut. It won't hold that shape in the hot oven. It'll just kind of go. So if you've ever had cookies that you tried to cut into shapes with cookie cutters and they didn't hold their nice edges. That's why. So this is going into the refrigerator for at least an hour before we roll it out and cut it. So we let our dough get nice and cold, and then I cut it in half. I've actually done half the batch, so I can kind of show you what we're doing here in a second. So, little flour on your counter, and you just kind of, you know, palm of your hand, flatten him out a little bit. A lot of recipes will say, I'm not going to tell on myself. A lot of recipes will say, roll into a so-and-so diameter circle. And when I was little, I took that so literally. I would kill myself trying to make sure I had a perfect circle and it was exactly however thick they said it had to be. Don't. You don't have to do that. And you don't want to put too much pressure. Bladen, can you come in and can you see the fissures right there? You don't want to put too much pressure on your dough because you'll get big cracks all through your dough. You don't want that. A little one here and there doesn't matter, okay? But you don't want to you don't want to crack it right in the middle. All right, then your cookie cutters. Now, trick with a cookie cutter, you do want a nice sharp edge. So if yours is kind of worn off, you know, you're going to have a harder time. So straight down and then give it a little bit of a wiggle. Sometimes it'll come right up when you lift the cutter. If it doesn't, you just transfer it to your cookie sheet just like that. Now here's the fun thing about these cookies. After I get these iced, I'm going to hang them on the Christmas tree. So the easiest way to do this is with a wooden skewer. All of my wooden skewers have disappeared for craft projects. So just take the tip of your knife and put a little hole in there so that you'll be able to put a little ornament hanger on it. Okay. These go in a 350-degree oven for right at 10 minutes. If you want a little, you know, firmer cookie, let them go up to 12. But they're already a dark brown, so it's kind of hard to tell when they get golden brown. It's hard to tell by sight. But don't let them go too long. You don't want them to go too long. And my brother, I did half the batch already. I'm going to show you what they look like in a second. My brother said that with a glass of milk, these would be dangerous. So I've gotten an official kudos on the Gingerbread man from one of the biggest sweet tooths. It would be sweet tooth, right? Not sweet teeth. He's got a big old sweet tooth. One of the biggest in East Tennessee. So these are pretty good. All right, so make sure you go by and you pull a hole in everybody. You know, poke a hole in the Gingerbread men's heads and the top of the stockings. Now these holes will close up a little bit when they bake. No big deal. When they come out of the oven and they're still real soft, take your skewer or the tip of your knife or whatever, just open them back up. Oh, and you can gather all these up, and I will, and mash them up, stick them back in the refrigerator, get nice and cold again, and then you can roll it out a second time. So this is what they look like when they come out. Okay. And you have to take the skewer and go right through that little hole so you make sure that the hole stays open. Now, these are delicious just the way they are. Now, I'm going to make royal icing. Don't you know? I've lost all right. There were twice that many. This is why I usually make these when the kids are at school and then I have to hide them so that I end up with anything to hang on the Christmas tree. And with the little ones, if they got frosting on them, they'll just lick the frosting right off and keep going. So you kind of have to work your strategy with the Gingerbread man. So half of mine have disappeared. But I'm going to make royal icing here in a minute after I get everybody baked off. And I'll put little decorations on them. Isn't that cute? All right. 10 minutes in my oven. These are some of the best, easiest, simple gingerbread men you'll ever have. Now, if you like this recipe, do me a favor. Bladen, would you not crunch into the microphone? Find me on Facebook. Find me on Twitter and Pinterest. I've got a Patreon account. And my brand new cookbook, Happier Holidays, How to Eat, Drink, and Stay Merry, is now live on Amazon for Kindle. So go over there and download that. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you back to make icing for our cookies.